Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be taking a look at what you get in the WPL B24 box and the V3 transmitter and receiver combo with the sound module for the diesel engine. I did buy some additional wheels for the back, so we got twin wheels instead of single wheels, so I'm going to see what they look like and if they're actually going to fit. And then we're gonna get it built and get it test run and see what it looks like. Coco wanted to get into the video today, so before I start, I thought I'd let her get in. Pain in the bum, aren't you? Yes. Right, you're gonna have to go now. You gonna go? Yeah, go on then. Right, go on then. Go. Good girl. Right. So first off, we'll have a look at the transmitter. So with the V3, you get this very similar looking transmitter. It's got a much nicer, so I'm looking that way because of the monitor. I've just set up a wireless feed from the camera to my TV, so I'm just checking to see that the feed is looking good and I'm in the camera's view. But with these you get the standard, obviously forward backwards turn, and you get another channel which you can attach a winch or something like that to. You can turn lights on and off from here, you can turn the sound on and off on the buttons on the top, so it's quite a versatile little transmitter. Then with the receiver, this is their V3 receiver that you get, and it has all the connections on for your extra channels, for your lights, for sound. It does come with this small speaker which produces, a reasonable sound. It's more than adequate. Only thing I've found with some of the WPL things, when I've sort of tried setting them up, I've had to extend the wires from the receiver to the battery tray because sometimes they're a little bit tight and it's a bit difficult connecting them. You've got a small antenna there. You can spray this once you've got everything plugged in with there's various different sort of rubber sprays and things you can buy to make this watertight. So that was Coco just tripping over the stand over there. So we got those, and we get some small capacitors to attach across the motor, and we do get an small instruction just telling you how to connect it, what all the connections are, and on the back just what the controls are to turn lights on and off, turn sound on and off, and all that. And they do work pretty good. I've tested this one before I started the video just to make sure that it does actually work. And yeah, before we start that, normally you would have a single wheel like this on the back, and I bought these double wheel rims. They're quite deep set. This actually goes right over the axle, so I'm hoping there's enough clearance on the chassis and stuff to fit these twin wheels on. I've ordered some more aluminium rims that match this kind of pattern, so for now it's just going to end up with the blue plastic rims that it comes with. And if you've never had a WPL, they come in this sort of box. It's very plain, it's good enough. It usually tells you what model you've got, and it's just a little bit of info on the bottom. So that's it. So next I'll move the camera down so that you can see the table, and then we'll go through all the components and we'll get everything out and see what we need first, and we'll start the assembly. Right, guys, this is the instructions that you get. It does come in various languages. I've got the English on the top here, and you've got Chinese and stuff on the back, so they're quite good. We've got a list of all the components here that you should get. With this box, I ordered the KM version as I mentioned earlier, but I don't think they had the KM version in stock, so they've taken the base one that you would normally buy the kit, and they've added all of the metal components separately. So these sort of components like this is all of your drive shaft housings and stuff. These are all plastic gears and stuff on some of it, is it? No, it's not plastic gears, but it's got plastic drive ends and stuff like that, and plastic knuckles. So this bag I shouldn't be needing. I did open it just to assemble one of these, just sort of quickly, just to see if those wheels will actually slide over the axle, and they will. So that bag probably will not be needed. So this is the original gearbox mount and stuff. I need this piece, which is part of the chassis, but the actual gearbox piece there I won't need, because this kit comes with a 2-speed gearbox. So this is your 2-speed gearbox here. It's got everything you need. It comes with a 380 motor, you've got a small servo horns and various other bits in there. So now in here we've got the original gearbox, the small gearbox. I think it's like a 120 motor. Got a lot of the wiring, screws, more servo horns, grease and other stuff, and there's a good sized bag of screws in there. You generally get a lot more screws than you need with these. And this is one of the metal components. This bag's quite heavy, so you've got all brass gears, you've got the metal axles, the metal shafts, should have metal ball races. You've got thread lock, grease, Allen keys. So there's quite a lot of stuff in there. That one's actually quite heavy. And then this one is really heavy. All it is wheel weights. You've got a full set of wheel weights, which at the end of the day, I mean, I think these to buy, you're looking at, I think something like £12 just for the wheel weights. And you know, if you add the prices individually that you'll pay for this stuff to buy the metal versions, if you look at the models, you can actually, they've got the ready to run, the kit versions, and the KM, which is all metal. So if you can afford it, I would suggest getting the KM version from the get-go, because you're going to save yourself probably £100, maybe a bit less, then upgrading from the standard version. So you might as well just spend that extra little bit and get the KM version. So in here we've got the wheels and tyres, little plastic blue rims on this one, and it's quite a nice tread pattern on those tyres. Should be 5 in there because we've got a spare, so put that one out of the way. Next we've got the cab, and it's done in a blue and white, which I thought was quite good. They do it in a green, like an army green, but all of the army trucks I've got are green, so I just thought, you know, why not try something a bit different. Did buy this separately. I think this was something like $7.99 or something, and this is a cover to go on the truck bed. This is the closest I could get. It's like a dark green digital camo, so hopefully that'll look okay on it. And then in this last one here, this is actually open already, because I've had a look because I couldn't wait. So in here we've got things like the spare wheel holder, some boxes, some more plastic pieces, I don't know what they are yet, a little small bag of things like wing mirrors and stuff in there. It's part of the spare wheel cover. So, you know, various different bits. There's the grille from the front. So hopefully it should look quite nice. And if you look in the top of here, you've got little holes in each of these, and that's where the metal pieces from this cover will go. These just pop in these holes like so. Just push those in and you have them all the way down, and then this cover will go over the top, and you've got this little flap that will drop down over the tailgate. will get added later. Obviously you have the option of running it without. I don't think these have a drop down tailgate on these ones. No, they don't. So there's no drop down tailgate on these like some of the bigger models. So there you go, that's a very brief, oh no it isn't, 1 second. Last of all, we've got the 2 C-shaped chassis rails, which is different to any of the other WPLs I've built so far. I've done the C14, C24 stuff, and then we get the standard little sticker kit that WPL send. I think somebody said at some point, I think that means Lucky Dragon or something in Chinese on there. If I'm wrong, somebody can correct me. So let me move that, and we get all these things out of the way, and I'll come back once we're ready. I'll get things unbagged so you don't have to listen to all of the rustling of the plastic, and when I come back we'll start the build. Right guys, we're back, and this is step 1. Where are we? Let's get in the middle, be a good start. That shows you step 1 there, and it shows you all kinds of pieces like the seats you've got to put in and that sort of stuff. But when you unpack it, this is how it came out of the box, and these little headlight things and the roof, the seats and this white surround, it was all assembled. So out of all the stuff here on step 1, all I've got to do is add the grille and the mirrors. Now I don't know why on these instructions it shows the mirrors attached like this, which I don't know if that, you know, if you think that looks, let's turn it that way so you can see this mirror down low, like, turn it the wrong way, like that. To me, I don't know, does that not look a bit funny? Because if I put them on turned up, I've not pushed it fully in yet, to me that looks better. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you can leave me a comment, you know, up or down, before I use any kind of glue. I will leave them kind of loose because there's no reflective in here, so I'll find something reflective to put in there. So we've got a fake fan in the front, and I'm assuming this must go this way up because you've got a long slot there, and you've got a piece there sticking out, so that should pop in there hopefully. Cool. You've got to bend that a bit to get that in, so I'll leave those mirrors to one side for now, and we'll deal with that later. So next we've got to get on with the chassis. I'll show you a quick picture of the chassis. That's all the components needed. Out of the original bags for just the plastic kit version, I've had to get these spring hanger pieces off the plastic, and these 2 plastic supports that go in between the chassis to hold them. I needed these out of the plastic, but other than that everything else is pretty much metal. So I'll get on with this and see what it looks like. On these rails you've got 2 holes there, which is your gearbox, and you've got 2 holes one side and 3 holes the other side, and on the instructions it shows that these 3 holes go to the front. So if this truck was finished, that's basically where the cab would sit, is towards the 3 holes, and these pieces just kind of slot in there like that, and it actually just comes into the hole a bit so it can't move, and you just pop screws in. So I'm going to crack on and start putting this together. So we've got some little bags of screws, which I'm going to stick out in here. There are a few different screws. Some of these I'm not going to need because I've got long screws for the axles, but also with the metal axles I've got long screws as well. So a lot of these will go into my spare screws and the little bolts and nuts and stuff. It's always worth having plenty of those. So for most of them, for pretty much for this WPL stuff, you'll need a screwdriver, a crosshead or a Phillips screwdriver. Make sure you've got a pretty good fit, because some of this you're going into plastic that has no threads and you're going to be cutting the threads, and it is very easy to put together. They tend to go quite quick. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to attach the servo gearbox onto there, and we have a servo horn on that end, and then we can rotate that. There you go, that's locked in. I think that's low gear, and then when this springs back we're in high gear, and the small servo horn will go on there, and then as this rotates it will go into this slot in here and we'll change the gears. So we'll just move this other stuff out of the way. Alright guys, I've gone ahead and totally assembled the chassis. We've got this little flip up and down piece which is for the cab. I've got the servo mounted, and you don't have to do this, but there's a little trick. One of the servo horns that you get in the bags, the holes on the end are a perfect match to the holes in the chassis to clamp the steering servo down. So I just normally pinch that servo horn, screw that down, and then it saves making a specific bracket or whatever to hold that. So I've obviously put the servo in for the gearbox, and as I want to check the direction of rotation for the gearbox to make sure that the axles are in the right way up, I've connected everything up, and I've got the rear axle in. The rear axle is pretty straightforward, so I thought I'll just get that one done. Right, so turn that on, and then we turn the car on and press this spine button, and then we've got our steering servo there, and then on the back end you can see we've got that wheel turning, and that what I've actually done is I've soldered the positive and the negative onto the motor with a small ceramic capacitor just to cut out some of the RF interference. And when I connected the positive to the positive onto the circuit board, they actually ran in reverse, so I could have turned this rear axle, just undone it from here, dropped it down, spun it over and screwed it back on. That would have fixed it, but all I did was just swap this plug. You can't really see it, can I? All I did was swap this motor plug round, which is basically the same as swapping those, so that I've now got normal forward and backward. So that's a good test of everything. I've also got the gears working, so see that okay. Just bring this light round, see if that helps. And then when I click the switch for this servo here, that's now, as you can see, we've gone into low, so the wheel is turning very slowly, and then back into high, and we've got much more speed. So we know that's all working, so we can turn all of this off and we can now continue with the build. So right, let's just unlock the wheel, so we're back down to this. So I'm going to put that to one side, and we're going to concentrate on this. I was going to show you quickly just how to do these little drive shafts, because if you've never done one before, they're not obvious, but you will need a drive shaft piece like this. You'll need one of these springs. It's like the things you have in your keys, but a much smaller scale. You will need the knuckle for the top. You will need one of these cylinders that has a little hole in, and you will need one of these small pins. And to assemble it, it's not difficult. This piece has got a little hole in it. You can see that there. This one. So this piece has to go through with that little hole lined up to a slot that is in either side of this. Then you have to line up the holes on this. Let me just get this pin started. Just pop this pin in just a little bit on there. Then we need to keep that in the middle, and they do tend to slip. If you find this is a little bit troublesome, what I normally do, this grease pack is nearly empty, so you can squeeze a little bit out for this, is if you pop a bit of grease into these pieces here, that will help hold these things in place. So we just rotate that so the hole is at the side, and then we'll pop that in. Put a bit of grease there, plenty of grease, doesn't hurt. And then this is what gets annoying, is when these little things keep dropping out. We'll put that in there, and then we have to locate into that slot. That has to go in, and then this pin goes through that center. I don't know if you can see that. So the pin runs in that orientation with the two slots, and that's what gives you that knuckle, and it takes the slop out. And then you have to line this up because the pin isn't all the way in. So we have to try and line that up by moving this in and out. Whatever, right, so now that's gone in flush both sides, and then this spring clip goes over the top, and this, once it's all the way down, make sure that pin doesn't move, and if we pull that all the way over, that pops into the groove, so that pin is now underneath this spring piece, and that's what holds that pin in. So that's that knuckle. I've already done this one. And with these drive shafts, you can install one piece on the gearbox, one on the axle, and you can put those in like that, and that's what gives you your expansion on the drive shaft. I normally grease these pieces too, but I'll probably do that just before we assemble. We now go on to the front axle. So we need to take it apart, take the screws out. So there, keep it together. This casing is just popped on. So you need to take these very, very small bearings there, and we need to pop one into the inner case, and then we need to pop that into there. Just put a very tiny amount of the grease on the back of there, just in case it rubs on any part of that bearing, so we don't get friction. So that will go all the way in like that. Then you hold that in place, and we need to take another one of these small bearings, very easily lost, so try to be careful with those, and we can pop that into there. I had to use a little bit of gentle persuasion with the other side, and just used a piece of metal and just very gently tapped it in. It was just a very tight fit, and I think it was something to do with this slot here more than in here. So let's try. Let's try these pliers just to see if we can get that to pop in. There you go. So now we've got that. So if you open these with a very small hole in the corner, you can get quite thin stream of grease coming out. That's that. So next we need to do these axle halves. So you will need the axle, and this has 3 cutouts. You've got a notch there, one there and one there, and these are for the grub screws to make sure that the gears actually lock on. This is one of the gears, and the grub screws are very tiny, as you can see there. So I normally take an Allen key, you can get it to pop in like that, and you thread lock these. I've never had one come loose, whether I'm just lucky. Get it started, and if you're unsure which way around the axle goes, this is offset, so if you sit that in there, that's how that needs to go, and that goes onto there like that, onto that shaft like that, and then this will sit in the middle of the cutout for the differential gear. So I've done that a little bit too much. There we go. So I need to bring him back, get him into that hollow there, and I don't fully tighten these up until the axle's pretty much there. Just give it a gentle tighten, because we may need to adjust within that slot. Now we need 4 more of these tiny bearings. So we've got that there, and we need to pop 2 on each side. Like so. Okay, because we've got 1 bearing holder there, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. So when these go in, you'd have 2 pushed into the centre, and 2 will be further out towards the end, just there, like so. So that sits in there, and you can see that spins really easily. So on the end of the axle we have these, and this includes your steering joint. So as the axle rotates, your steering wheel will do that, and this joint here takes care of that rotation. So we need to get this slot up and push that on. Now you have to be careful. If you put these 2 on either end and you squeeze them in, you'll actually pinch these if there's no gap, and this will not rotate. So this is why I don't kind of lock everything off immediately. So that's that nipped up. Then just pop the other case on, just hold it with your fingers. So you've now got everything assembled, and then just check to see that this rotates nice and free. There's a little bit of end play there which will be taken up once this one is done. What I normally do is take these apart, and then we'll pop some grease onto the shaft, mainly to prevent corrosion if any moisture does get in there. It adds a bit of lubrication between the bearings and the ends, just in case there's any friction there. There's this little gasket here. Take all the little pieces out. You do get a few spares of these, so if you do tear them and totally destroy them, you can replace them. You can strip these and rebuild them again. And make sure you use these, because as I found out, if you don't, it does bind the differential gear up. So it just helps keep some water out and grime and things. So, guys, when you're doing this front axle, just make sure that these steering pieces go towards the outside of the housing, not to the drive shaft side. Otherwise you're going to come with some problems. So we've got the little brass piece in there, a little tiny bit of grease just for a little bit of lubricant and to make sure it doesn't corrode. And just put these in quickly and we'll be ready to move to the next step. Grease off my hands. So next we need the springs. So we've got 2 springs. On this piece here we need these 2 plastic pieces there, and we need these 4 plastic pieces which are simulating springs, but they don't actually do much. They just kind of prevent the spring on there from over flexing too far and from it deforming these. So we'll just take any of the burrs off quickly, and then we're putting the axle in. I'm going to pop the drive shafts on as well. The round piece is at the front, but it hooks over, so this needs to attach this way. And basically we pop the smallest of those plastic in the bottom, then the next one, and then need, I think it's this one, to go all the way through. So it doesn't matter which round you do it at the moment, just get one of those in, and we get that all the way through the whole thing. So once that goes through there, we've got that, and then we've got this metal cap will go on this side, and that basically completes the whole thing. So let's pop another one of these through. It needs to go to the front of the truck, and that will go through like so. And then we pop one of these caps on, and then just carefully start to tighten. You'll find if they don't want to go, if you wind it back a little bit until you feel the end of the thread click over into the thread into the end cap, then normally they'll go straight in. So just pop those on there. So you need to do the same again for the other one. And to attach this, just simply hook that into there, that folds over, and that has to spread out and go onto there like so. So now we just need the normal screws, these. And we have to squeeze this down until that goes far enough forward to locate with the hole, and then we just put a screw in there. In you go. That's it. So that's that. So we've got the suspension there. It's quite good sort of flexi suspension on these. With the kits, these grub screws, because they can round out quite easily if you've not got a great fitting Allen key. So we'll pop this half on first. So we're getting on there. Start to tighten them down. Make sure that you're within the groove there, and then tweaking down like so. And then this half, you can pop that in there like that. Slide that in. We'll rotate this round like that, and that you can slide on. And then just tighten. There we go. That's the chassis. Basically, we now have a rolling chassis. So next, we will need the spare tyre rack, the spare tyre, and we've got the toolbox, which I think is that one, which sits on there, bar, which is there. We will need the actual bed. We've got mud flaps. They're not very flexible plastic, so we're going to need that. We have to attach these mud flaps to the bottom. There's two of those, and again, normally it's just these little normal screws that you get quite a lot of these in the pack. That one's not got a hole in it for some reason. Have to make a hole. So that's that one. This one doesn't have the hole in it. Didn't quite go through the mould. I just poked a hole in it with the Allen key there because it was such a thin piece of plastic. Okay, so that's that. So they've got us attaching the bed now, but obviously we've got this wiring from the gearbox, so we need to feed this wiring through. You need anything else that you may need, we need to attach now, because we won't be able to run things under the bed afterwards. So I normally buy zip ties in bundles like this, and then you can just fit this where you need to. So now we can go ahead and put the back on. So it has to go into there. Where are we? That has to go. Oh, great. They didn't think that one through, did they? We've got two fixings here for there and there, but this has got a different gearbox, so this one is not going to fit. So unfortunately I'm going to have to do a little modification, because it shows it's screwing into the back of the gearbox. Choice. So let's take this out. See, right. So now that is on, we just need these really tiny little screws that we need to go down into there. Those ones now. Maybe these ones. So a very small headed screw that goes down into there. And there we go. So it could have been designed a little bit better, this, to be honest, the way the body attaches, but as I said, I mean that's on there, that's not moving. That's a little bit of a short-sightedness on WPL, that there's no facility on the 2-speed gearbox for this third piece there to go. So I'm about to chomp out some plastic. Right, so next we need to attach this box. There's 2 of these boxes, and I'm assuming they pop together like that, because it's not very clear, and then you've got 2 fixing points to attach it to the chassis, and we've got 2 of these like that, and they go up underneath here, so they go on with the 2 gearbox mounting points. So we'll just quickly, let me put the centre one in, because a lot of the bodies, the C24 and that, the body attaches on that centre screw. As I said, I've not, let me turn this round, this centre screw here, this is normally where the C24 attaches the pickup bed, and on this one we need these 2 to attach the fuel tank. So put that through both sides. Get yourself a magnetic screwdriver if you haven't got one, or magnetise the screwdriver that you have got. You can buy magnetising things, or just drag it across a speaker magnet, something like that. You can put some magnetism into it, so it just makes this so much easier if the screws are not dropping off and going all over the place. So we just need to, so this screwdriver actually came with my very first 3D printer. I bought a Tronsky X5, I think it was, and that was a few years ago, and I'm still using the screwdriver now. So what it's telling us now is the next step is the wheels, but just out of interest, if only because I've had quite a lot of interest on wheels pertaining to the WPL stuff, so I'll stick that there so that you can see the rim. And if we put a rim and tyre just as they come, you've got 27 grams. Now if you fit the wheel weight, this is what it looks like with this attached. So there you've got 67 grams, you've got 88, 90, so yeah. And then again we've got these double wheels, these weigh 64, and if I added at least 1 set of these wheel weights in there, we're going up to 125 grams. If I order some more wheel weights and put 1 in each of the rear wheels, we're going to go up to 188 grams for these, because we could put wheel weights inside each of those tyres. So as you can see, you have the potential to add an awful lot of weight low down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I was really hoping, I've put this video off for a little while because I was hoping that the wheels that I've ordered to match these would have turned up by now, but they haven't. So as you can see with that on there, get it on properly, with that on there, you've got this much, and that's kind of what it looks like. for clearance, and if we add this on, this goes over the top, sits like that, so it doesn't have so much clearance on the inside, but I think it actually looks much cooler if you see the truck with those. So I'm probably, for now, I'm going to go with these on the back as they are, and I'm going to put the plastic ones on the front, and then as soon as the other aluminium wheels that I've ordered would arrive, then I will switch those over, and I'll probably put some of the weights out of these inside. So I will put a link to where I got these double wheels from down below. So there we go. I think that looks quite cool. Look like from behind, yeah. I mean, look at that. Actually looks like a more commercial, and it's got some quite good suspension. I'm really impressed with this leaf spring. I've got the same kind of suspension on one of the military trucks I've got with from a different company, and I'm not very impressed with the spring system on those. It's virtually the same, but WPL seem to have done it right. So I'm going to pop this one. I have got these aluminium ones, but that's a set of 4, and I've got those kind of earmarked for something else. So I'm going to pop the fronts. I've actually got the steering still to do. That's actually squishing that tyre down quite a lot. Still got the steering to do, so I might do that quickly. Right guys, we've hit a snag. For some reason, these twin wheels, when you put them on, they seem great until you lock that centre screw down, and then it prevents the axle from turning. So either this outer diameter is just a little too big for in the back of here, or these screws down here are jamming against that back plate. So that's something I'm going to have to look into. Maybe need to put something on the lathe and turn it down a little bit. I just thought I'd show you how I did these springs, because they're a little bit tricky. So what I was doing was holding that like that, and this spring piece here has to go down into this hole, and if you hold it with some pliers and push on the pliers, you can right, there we go. So that's gone in kind of halfway, you can see there, and then I just pushed the last bit with the finger, put that on and that on, and then just pull this round and lift it up onto there, so that you've kind of, oh, where are we going? There, you can see that angle there, and then just get the grips and squeeze that, and it should go down in there like so, and just squeeze the other one in, and then do the same with this one. Just swing it around and then squeeze that in, just give those a squeeze, and that's it. And then you just need to pop the tyre on. So I'm going to go back to just using these plastic wheels for now, just so we've got some wheels on it. They're not going to be glued, because I'm going to be taking the tyres off of these probably, and they've got to be glued once I've decided whether to put weights in them or not. So that's that one done. They're pretty flexible, so get that one there. So we get these on the truck. It's a little bit annoying, I can't use those metal ones straight away, but I will get them fitted at some point, so I think they look quite cool. Come on, so I don't lose it. Now the other issue that I came across was I've wound these on pretty much all the way, and this bar is too long. If I locate that like that, the wheels, you can see, are nowhere near straight. So the one that they've sent with that, the upgraded part, is no good. But I'd already bought these for a different WPL, and these are just the right length, so I'm going to attach these instead of the ones that came with it. So just be aware that, you know, you may get parts that you can't fit. There you go, it's bound straight away that time. That's the indicators if you got indicators fitted. And then if we start her up, pick it up, you can turn it over. It's going to be easier. Turn it upside down. It's a bit difficult with that not on, but if I get it going slow, you can see that's one speed, and if we kick it out, there you go. So that's your high speed, and that's your crawling speed. And just turn that off because it's a bit noisy. I found that it's best to keep the gearbox rolling as you change between gears, because when this goes in, if that gear doesn't engage, it tends to bend all of this back, and it puts a lot of pressure on the little servo arm and stuff in there and the fixings. So I would always change gear while moving, just to reduce the stress on everything really. So I'm going to carry on and get this done. It's a shame about these, but I'll get around to finding out what that is. Maybe just machine a little piece off of these metal discs in there will be enough. But I will get to the bottom of that very soon. So I'm going to carry on, get this steering done, and then I'll come back. Alright guys, here we have the finished article after a few little issues. Not just the double wheels here pinching on the axle, we had the issue with this steering linkage. Still need to adjust this. I've got a little bit too much towing on those wheels. That wire's got to be tucked about the way somewhere there. But overall it's not been too bad. Two-speed gearbox. Let's turn it off. All in all, it's not been too problematic. I had to mount the, let's bring this forward, this is where your battery goes, and on the underside of here I've mounted the circuit board on the back of this piece, which is always very, very tight on these for room. They don't give you much space at all, but I've got it all in there, so it's not been too much of an issue. But it's not, I think the problem arose because this was a normal plastic kit version and WPL didn't have any, so they sent out the plastic kit and tried to add all of the metal components to it. I've never had any issues with WPL before. This is the first time I've had the plastic kit and then had the other pieces sent on. So I think I knocked some of these on the floor the other day. I was moving something and I heard it clang, and I'm sure it was these that disappeared. There's a piece of bar in there. It's supposed to be weight, I suppose, but it's not. It doesn't go all the way in. Don't know if I can push it down enough. Yeah, there you go. That's got him inside. So I've got 2 more somewhere. Crawl under my desk. Too much stuff in this room by far. Just crawl. I think I knocked these off the shelf the other day, these tyres. So just pop in there. And then this, did that wrong. This one goes at the back because the front one is fed through the material part, so that has to go like that. Pop this one in here, and then on the side we've got this elasticated stuff, but I don't know, there is kind of stuff that you could attach these to. Right guys, there you go. That's with the cargo top on. It's got this little flap which is weighted at the bottom, and it's not, you know, perfect match to the truck, but I think that's going to look quite cool. So I'm going to get on to the run video. I'm not going to be doing it tonight because it's 11 o'clock at night, so I won't be doing that now. I'll do it tomorrow when I get this video up, hopefully later tomorrow. So thanks for watching guys. I've just popped out to a piece of sort of waste ground where people walk their dogs and stuff, just to do a quick run on this WPL B24. I'll switch the camera around, you can see it's just a kind of little trail place, but it does get noisy down here because of the road, so I apologise for that. So I've got it down here, so we'll have a little run around and see what it's like. So here we go guys, I'm going to give it the first run. that's a quick look at the B24 by WPL. It's not a bad little truck, it's pretty capable. You've got the 2-speed gearbox, sorry about the road noise. But I have an affiliate link down below, so if you're interested in buying one of these or any other WPL product, just go down to the description and have a look, and you know, you might find something you like. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.